Hi, I am Pinky Khatri. I'm talking today about teachings from Bhagavad Gita. So, one of the things that I've been wanting to talk about is, since I've written the book, I've had a lot of people, I've had two responses. One is, appreciation and saying, okay, good job, you have three kids. This is something good you're doing to, let them keep in touch with the roots where we're coming from. And the other side is this one question that I've always been coming across is, yes, it's great, but it's not for my kids. My kids are not interested. How do you know? And how do you get them interested? So I personally, I got interested is because of all the memories of my grandfather and his sister. Every time we visited them or they visited us, there's always Bhagavad Gita in their hand, and that's been a constant reminder. And every time I think about my grandparents, Bhagavad Gita is always involved in the memory because that's we they share stories from the Mahabharata and just teachings from Gita itself. And so when I started the book, one of the first things I did was I cleaned up my act, and I was like, okay, so this is what I want my kids to learn. So the first thing to do was for me to say, okay, am I doing all these things? Because the kids are young and they're looking up to me an example. And if I'm just talking about it and not living by the Gita, they're gonna not take it seriously either. And how will they get interested? So like I said, that's the first thing I did was clean up my act, and I went for at least a month where I kind of lived by what I was about to start preaching, and followed everything that I could and stayed calm. And one of the things that that has helped is typically around bedtime, I start meditating, whether they join me or not. They see me doing that, and over the weekends when if I wake up along with that with my kids, then they see me meditating first thing in the morning. And my older one has sometimes comes sits with me. It is the kids, there's a way for us to be able to get them more involved, and for them to show interest. If you are committed to teaching the Gita teachings for your kids, then you have to show interest as a parent. You have to be committed to live by the Gita, to show an example, because the more you're reading it in front of them, and the more you're living it and you're talking about it as you're doing things, you're giving examples from the Gita as to why you're doing what you're doing, then the kids start to relate. And if you're that interested, at some point they're going to come and say, what are you reading? What is it all about? Tell me more. That's definitely going to come. It is our responsibility to spark that interest instead of saying, no, my kids are too busy playing with other stuff. I don't think they'll be interested in this. So as a parent, it's the first step is for us to be serious about what we want to teach our child and stick to that, that what do you call it, stick to that schedule, stick to that decision before you start imposing. And the biggest thing is consistency. You want to maintain that consistency once you start talking about the teachings. It shouldn't be, one day, say Sunday, you're sitting family get together, you're talking about this thing, and then Monday to Saturday you go about doing things the old way, and then the conversation happens again. So then that becomes a disconnect. So it's very important to maintain consistency and talk about it, live it, and mention it around everyday activities or teachings from the Gita during everyday activities. In that way, you get your kids involved, get your kids interested, and that helps to shape your kids' future down the road. That's all for this week. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you like, share, and subscribe the video. We'll talk to you soon.